That's so f***ed up.
Welcome back, you sick little bastards. This is the movies that me up. In this episode, I'm going to be discussing the Lars von Trier 2009 movie Antichrist, starring Willem Dafoe and Charlotte Gainsbourg. The movie is made up of 4 chapters with a prologue and an epilogue. Any movie that starts the way that the prologue starts lets you know that all bets are off. So what is this movie about? In the prologue, he and she are having sex, more like soft porn. If you've seen this movie, you know what I am talking about. While they are having sex, their child gets out of the crib and then goes to a window and falls and dies. This leads she to start going to therapy, and he is a therapist also, and he is not happy with the progress that she is making and decides to do psychotherapy himself on her. I saw this movie before I got my degree, and after I got my degree, I was really uncomfortable with what he was doing as far as using his therapy on her. He believes that she is afraid of nature and then forces her to go back to Eden. Along the way, there are some clear signs that they should turn back, but they don't. So here we go. Fun fact, there are 2 versions of this movie. One is Catholic and the other is Protestant. The one that has all the edited versions out, all the explicit stuff, who the fuck wants to see that one? The first chapter is grief. He and she, they have no names, but since there is some religious undertones and the fact that they are going to Eden, one can imply that maybe they are Adam and Eve. Along the way, they come across this doe that has the stillborn basically halfway out of her. It looked real, it looked gross. Hello, first sign, turn around. And once again, an isolated cabin. Listen, seriously, nothing ever good comes from going to an isolated cabin. Nothing. Chapter 2 is Pain or Chaos Reigns. Here is where we see she psychologically and physiologically fall apart, where he abuses his therapy, forcing his beliefs on her, and therefore negating what she's feeling. Never, ever do that to a woman. It is not going to end well for you. He then starts to believe that her fear was actually not nature and it is Satan. And he wants to delve more into that. Bro, seriously? And when the next day she gets up and she says she's cured, and then she says, I'm fine a couple of times. And then when she says, why can't you just be happy for me? Ooh, bro, literally red flags. Oh. And speaking of signs, if you come across a disemboweled fox that comes to life and whispers to you, chaos reigns, go. Get the fuck out. Fuck that shit. Just go. Chapter 3 is despair or genocide. So he makes this discovery that basically shifts the therapy. She has been doing a thesis on genocide. Well, this also included ritual. And there was all this kind of nonsense writing. Seriously, the red flags were there and this dude just kept going, and this is why we're getting to where we're gonna go. You see, because the shit hits the fan.
The shit's gonna hit the fan.
The psychological warfare was a lot, and this is why you are here, for the movies that f***ed me up. I'm going to need a shot for this.
Fatality.
You see, she had been using sex as a way to deal with her grief, and he, once he started doing the therapy, stopped providing that to her. Well, she thought he was no longer attracted and she didn't love him anymore. She started to believe that women were evil. Then they had a confrontation involving the child, and he takes off to the shed. This is when she attacks him in the shed and basically starts raping him. At first, he wasn't giving in, and then once he gave in and he said, I love you, she snapped. She got off of him. She grabbed this wood. She lifted that bitch up. She slammed it down hard on his hard neck. She hit him so fast and hard, it knocked him the fuck out. And this is when she decides to grab his wood and she starts giving him this hand job. Well, when he came, yeah, it wasn't sperm that shot out. Nope, not at all.
He started to come blood.
If that ever happened to me, I would pass out. I probably would be found like laying there with my shit in my hand, blood on me. He kept shooting, shot on her. When she got up, she got a drill and then put a hole in his leg. She then stuck her finger in the hole to make sure that the hole was big enough. Then there was this cobblestone thing that was in this shed. Well, she took it off of there. She then slid it in the hole and then took a bolt and then pretty much fastened it to his leg. Fun fact, if you have seen a Lars von Trier movie, you know that he does not shy away from sex. He does not shy away from nudity and does not use prosthetics. And if that was the case, respect Willem Dafoe. Avenge me! But we're not done yet. You see, she then starts to masturbate herself because, as I said, she uses sex as a form of grief. Well, she's not able to get off, and she gets up and she grabs this big pair of scissors. Yeah, you know where I'm gonna go. So she lays down and then basically parts lips and exposes her clitoris. She takes said scissors and chops it off. I winced. I ain't got one, but that shit looked like it hurt. Who comes up with this? Lars von Trier. I am not going to tell you how this movie ends and what happens with the two of them. Check this movie out. It is an art house horror film. I'm kind of a fan of those. This did have gore. But yes, check this movie out. It is available to stream on Shudder. So until next time, ta-ta for now.
Did you have a good sleep?
I've just been having a lot of crazy dreams.
Dreams are of no interest in modern psychology. Freud is dead, isn't he?